Hi everyone, and welcome to Hydro Man Ran. On our very first episode, we talk about Scarface and the associated video game. Being this is our very first episode, we forgot to do an introduction. That's fine because we didn't really have a name for what we were doing yet at the time. But my name is Kevin. The other guy is Andrew. We are cousins, and we like to talk about movies and video games. We'll get better, maybe, so if you found us, please stick with us. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy episode number 1 of Hydro Man Ran. Don't know what I'll do with this one. I'm playing around with the editing. I'm having fun with it, but yeah, I don't know what I'm doing yet.
You gotta try it out. You gotta learn.
Yeah. So trying to find royalty-free music and clips and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, as time goes on, that'll only grow. Because I don't know if you saw, but they're making like a horror version of Winnie the Pooh.
Really?
Yeah, have you not seen this? They've already got a trailer for it. It looks stupid. It looks terrible, but somehow Winnie the Pooh became like public domain, and so I think the concept is basically Christopher left. He went off to college or whatever, and he left behind Winnie and Piglet, like little stuffed animals, and this is based off the trailer, but they somehow over time, as he grew up and just forgot about them, they grew and became this like couple of murderous just sociopaths, and they're trying to hunt him down. And it looks like any generic slasher film. It just happens to be guys wearing Pooh and Piglet masks.
Okay.
Yeah, remind me once we get off. I will send you the trailer. It'll make a ton of money because I'm sure it's very low budget, but everyone's going to want to see this just because it's Pooh.
Yeah, and that was like what was the one that was the big hit earlier this year with Nick Cage, or it was like a showbiz. He was like stuck in some kind of showbiz pizza thing, and he had to kill all the mechanical animatronics in the showbiz pizza. I can't remember.
I'm not sure
what it was called.
Is it a play on that Five Nights at Freddy's game?
I think it's supposed to be piggybacking on that kind of thing. Yeah, but it was I never played that game, so I don't know anything about it.
I played the first one, and it's basically you're just like this security card inside the it's basically just Chuck E. Cheese, just their version of it. But you're like the nighttime security guard, and every night the little animatrons are trying to attack you, and you gotta somehow you can stop them by like using your flashlight. I forget all the details, but it's basically you just gotta survive.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds kind of like this movie. Yeah.
A lot of jump scares. That's all it is.
No, it's had some pretty good gore in it, but yeah, it was just kind of boring overall. But
I'm surprised that a movie with Nick Cage is boring. Yeah. Or do you mean boring really standard?
He wasn't boring, but the movie was. I'll put it that way.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Well, he's still in debt, so he's just going to keep pumping this crap out.
I don't think he is. I think he's out now.
Oh, is he out of debt?
Yeah. I think he sold his entire comic book collection, and he sold a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, poor guy's just stuck on it now.
Yeah.
But
he's having a bit of a renaissance, so hopefully he'll get some good roles.
I hope so.
After Pig last year, that was great.
What's that?
After Pig last year, that was excellent. Yeah. That was a great movie.
If you can have great films, or at least roles that are so bad that they're funny again, like the first Ghost Rider, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. The second one was kind of meh. Like they were just trying to like play off it, but the first one was wonderful.
Yeah, that was weird. Like the second one was by the guys that did Crank. So I'm kind of shocked how bad that one was. Like
That makes so much sense. I didn't.
it had like the frenetic nature, but not the energy. Like
Right.
it was something about it where yeah, there was a cut every half of a second, and something was always happening, but it just wasn't energetic. I don't really know exactly. Maybe it was the fact that they had to go for a PG-13 rating instead of R. I don't know.
Well, that and Crank was designed for like the constant changing of like the camera angles and just the shakiness and all that. Whereas it felt like Ghost Rider was, and Ghost Rider 2 was them just trying to make a regular superhero movie.
Right, and it was yeah, and Crank was he constantly had to find new and inventive ways to get
Yeah.
his adrenaline pumping and things like that. So yeah,
They wanted to make you feel like you were feeling the same energy burst that he was.
right, yeah, I think they captured it. I don't even hate the second one, but yeah,
I didn't see the second one, but I heard it was. I heard it had the same energy.
yeah, it has it's very much the same, and it has a unique disdain for just people, just humans. It's just strippers, old ladies at the racetrack. It just hates everybody. It's kind of fun in that regard. But yeah,
They know exactly what they're going for, so good
oh,
on.
they go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you last watch Scarface?
A month and a half ago.
Okay, so longer ago than, or not as long ago as I did, or I was further back than you were, but yeah.
Okay. When was the last time you watched it?
I mean, it's probably been about 2.5 months. It was probably like, I'd say probably like mid-July, maybe early August.
Okay. All
It
right.
wasn't like that long ago, but I kind of caught back up on it. And the more I thought about it, like the movie itself is fine. It's done well. I think my biggest issue with it was probably, which isn't the movie's fault, but it's the way that people react to the main character. And it's kind of the thing where it's like you're completely misunderstanding who the character's supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
everyone loves like Homelander, Walter White, Joker, like all these terrible people. Which it's fine to enjoy the character. That's fine, but people will like idolize them.
Right. Just because they're protagonist doesn't mean they're the hero.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think that's why I hated it in college when I first watched it. Was because it was a bunch of douchebags in my dorm room who thought that they wanted to grow up and be Scarface, and then on top of that, I remember I think I was actually working on Blockbuster at the time when they released the Scarface video game, and
Remember that?
and it starts off like at the end of the movie, but Tony Montana somehow escapes all the assassins and doesn't die,
Right.
and he's just as badass with a machine gun, and it's just what's the video game?
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto ripoff, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially Vice City is kind of a ripoff of Scarface in certain ways. I love that video game, but it is. I think even some of the songs, I think "Take It to the Limit" might even be on the Grand Theft Auto Vice City soundtrack. I'm not sure about that, but it's definitely.
I think you're right.
I actually watching Scarface again, I recognized, I was like, oh, that was in Vice City. I remember those buildings that were in Vice City. I think maybe they're just iconic Miami things, but to me, they're like, oh, that's like iconic Vice City, because I don't know anything about Miami. So,
well, I think Tommy Vercetti, he's the main character in Vice City. I think he is Tony Montana. If Tony Montana wasn't just such a small individual, like he's like ultimate small man syndrome. You make one small comment at him, and he is going to lose his mind on you. Even if you got 10 goons behind you with guns, he is going to start talking crap and acting like he can do it. Whereas Tommy Vercetti was a little smarter. He wasn't gonna just charge in when he didn't think he had a shot.
Right. Yeah, and that like another movie like that is Goodfellas with
Yeah,
uh what's his name's character?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you think I'm a clown? Am I here for your amusement? Wow, crack.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
horrible. I can't think of his name. Joe
I know who
Pesci.
you're talking
Joe
about.
Pesci's character in that
Yes.
movie is definitely. I mean, I will say this. I enjoyed Scarface. I think I liked it a lot better than you did, but it's no Goodfellas.
Yeah.
It's no Godfather in terms of
No.
in terms of in my opinion, like examining this type of lifestyle and and the type of individual that's drawn to this world, um,
Right.
making
It,
them even empathy. Like I never felt any empathy for Tony Montana,
no.
whereas you feel empathy for Ray Liotta's character in Goodfellas, and you do feel actually a little bit empathy for actually Al Pacino's character in the Goodfellas series, along with pretty much everybody in that series. I mean, they're all very empathetic characters, even though you know they're not good.
Right.
You don't feel that at all for him.
Mhm.
And his downfall at the end, you just hate him even more. But I was ready for him to die.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, no, the movie was very shallow with not just him, but all the characters were just very base level. Like I forget the guy's name, but whoever he stole like the whole drug uh, empire from, maybe like halfway through, he
yeah,
was another sleazy guy who started crying whenever he knew he was going to die, and then Tony was just this very base like I don't want to say racist because I don't think that's what they were going for, but he was just like typical Cuban angry guy. You know, like there was no depth there. He didn't have some grander scheme. He just wanted drugs, money, and power.
yeah, and I think that was the point. I don't think he was supposed to be a deep character. I think he was supposed to be, capitalism turned up to 11,
Mm-hmm.
and just the horribleness that is greed. I
Right.
think is what his character is supposed to be, because Oliver Stone wrote this. Do you know much about Oliver Stone's work? Have you watched a lot of his stuff?
I know I have. I couldn't. I can't name any other of his movies, but I know I've seen other ones.
He's super political. Born on the 4th of July is actually a really good one he did. I watched
Yeah.
that earlier
Okay.
this year.
Yeah. Very well.
Um, uh, what was the one he did? Alexander the Great. He did that movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely horrible. It's just a bad movie. Um, but yeah, he's what was the other one he did? Oh, Natural Born Killers. So yeah, so he likes to examine kind of horrible people and what they do. Um, so I did find that interesting here, kind of how he was examining
Mm-hmm.
that and how it kind of ties into everything else. There are a couple scenes where I know that he's a little bit on the libertarian side,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a couple scenes where I think he was making reference. I don't know if you remember, there's a big bathtub scene where
Yeah.
Tony Montana is sitting in the bathtub and he's watching some politician or something like that talk,
Yeah.
and the politician is talking about how bad it would be for us to legalize drugs and tax them, just something to that nature, and Tony Montana kind of mocks the guy, and I think that was, I remember seeing that and I was like, oh yeah, Oliver Stone's a libertarian. That's right, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I definitely get that, and I get his take on it. I think just my personal tastes are I prefer a little more depth. Like, I mean, I'm I'm kind of a hypocrite, but I do love Breaking Bad. I love Walter White. Like, I recognize that he's an evil person, especially by the end of it. But there's like with him, there's just so much depth to the character, and it helps that Brian. I think it's Bryan Cranston. He's like a wonderful actor, and he
well, and that
does.
character too breaks bad. He's in a moral quandary and he has to
Right.
figure out a solution to, how to, he had cancer, right? And he has to figure out how to get rid of cancer, or get his treatment for cancer,
Mhm.
and still protect his family at the same time. And so he kind of naively goes down this path and becomes this character, and his he actually has a character arc. Like, you don't get a character arc with Tony Montana. he
Yeah.
just he just becomes more. He gets more, and he becomes more excessive, and he
I guess
sticks
it's
his
so
face in a
weird
pile of cocaine and just becomes uber Al Pacino, so.
yeah. I guess it just seems weirder that like a libertarian would be, because it kind of paints capitalism in a very bad light. Now, granted, it's not just regular capitalism; it's like completely unregulated dark money capitalism. But it's
And I
still
think
kind
that's
of
yeah, and I think his, because I think even back then, I don't think libertarian I don't know if libertarianism was really a thing back then the way it is now. And like, the like, hardcore libertarians now were like, almost like a almost anarchist in a certain
right.
regard. And I don't think he was that way. I think back then it was really the more traditional idea of,
Like a soft conservative, really.
well, a financial conservative, but a social liberal.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I think that's really what the libertarian was back then. Because, I mean, I remember reading books as a teenager, and that's what attracted me to it.
Mm-hmm.
Before I really saw kind of the freak shows in that group. Um,
There's just
but
no good leaders in that group.
there's no good leaders anywhere, so to be
That's true.
honest. But yeah, um, uh, yeah. Let's not try to go too much down that road.
That'll be a whole nother podcast in its own right.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to get too political. It's hard to get political when you're talking about an Oliver Stone film, but yeah,
Right.
yeah. I can't really help it. Uh,
But yeah, I mean that was my main character, and it wasn't just that Tony Montana was shallow. Though it was like every character though. Like even the girl he got, she was shallow. Just some girl like she like I don't even remember her name. Like she had no other role other than just being the wife of Tony Montana.
it was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I know the actress. It's not the character's name. Like she had no
It
role.
is Elvira. I have IMDb up. That's the only way I know. I wouldn't know it either, honestly. But
Sure, that just sounds so. That doesn't sound like it fits in that movie. But
well,
yeah.
this is a remake, right?
What's that?
This movie is a remake.
Yeah, the original was it like back in the 30s?
Yeah, yeah. It was written by a guy, Howard Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a great American screenwriter. Wrote like tons of classics. The Big Sleep, Rio Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't think of his other ones, but he's a huge screenwriter from back in the 30s and 40s. And so this is a remake of that, because I was seeing something where Al Pacino was apparently a big fan of that movie, and he actually pushed to get this entire project made.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying about how the characters are kind of. It's almost like the really interesting and dimensional characters are killed off by Tony and his, because his Manny, his right hand man,
Right.
is actually he actually has some depth, and he's an interesting character, and he has loyalty, and he has desires outside of just this grand scheme. Like he falls in love with Gina,
Exactly.
and
Everything in Tony's world revolves around him, which I mean, I guess it's true to an extent if people like that. But even the idea of him getting a child is just so he can pass on his legacy to someone else.
yeah, and even like Elvira, like we were talking about, she's literally an object. Like she's a complete object. What are the like she has no what do they call that? Agency. Yeah, like she's completely an object. She's passed off. Once he takes over the business from Robert Loggia's character, he gets her. He earns her by taking over the business. Like she's nothing. and her real desire is just to dance to Debbie Harry songs and do cocaine. So
Well, I mean, that is the true that is the true dream.
it
That,
is.
who amongst us has not wanted to do this?
Yes. I was laughing though because the Debbie Harry song is all about, like, in the chorus is all about, like, there's a dance room scene. I think it's where he first meets her, or
Mm-hmm.
it's where he's dancing with her. It's after they've met, and it's the first time the two of them dance together. And it's a Debbie Harry song playing, and the chorus is all about how she wants that yayo.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's just this like really blatant song by Debbie Harry about how much she wants cocaine. And I was like, okay, that's really interesting.
Not at all on the nose.
Uh,
I was definitely hard on it though, more than I should have been. And I think some of it too was like I saw a lot of things in it where it was like, oh, I've seen all these tropes so many times, but then I had to take a step back and think, this movie came before a lot of those movies. So really, those movies built off of that.
yeah, I mean, even the "Take It to the Limit" montage.
Right.
I mean, like, how many times have you seen a joke played off that? So much so that when I watched it this time, I couldn't help laugh throughout the entire thing because I've seen. It was like, I know South Park's done jokes
South
on it. I
Park.
mean, like, I'm sure Family Guy did a joke on it on some point in time. So
Everyone's done a joke on that, but
yeah,
which really, even though it's not a movie that I would consider like a favorite, and I don't personally consider it a great movie, but I can see it as a very like important movie. I guess is what I call it. Like
okay,
it played a big role, I think, in kind of influencing culture as far as films go.
yeah, I think it's kind of harping off a lot of things. Like, I do think it's a good film, and I think it's an important film, and I think it's a well-made film.
It was well made.
Um,
A lot of those shots are beautiful.
yeah. I mean, it's Brian De Palma. I don't know who the cinematographer was for this one, but um, yeah, it's a really, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not. It feels like it takes the gangster kind of tropes that have been in Hollywood, even since the original Scarface in the 30s, and it felt like it was just modernizing them to, well, this is what it means in the 80s now, you know.
Right.
And I think it was trying to say something, you know, because I think Oliver Stone also did, if I'm not mistaken, Wall Street. I don't know if you ever saw that or heard of
I did
that
see
movie.
Wall Street. I saw Wall Street. With
Michael Douglas and
oh no,
other people.
I'm thinking of Wolf of Wall Street. I don't think
No,
I.
that was Scorsese. No, no,
Yeah,
no. Scorsese's so much better than Oliver Stone. Um,
I didn't see Wall Street. No.
okay, and it's okay. It's an interesting look at it's another attack on capitalism, and not capitalism like hey comrade, we hate capitalism, right? Yeah.
Right.
No, it's kind of like, hey, this is, capitalism run rampant without restraints. This is what happens.
Right.
Um, so I do think I think that's the important thing that it's trying to say, and I don't think many people actually get that at all. And I really hate that. Like,
Everyone's
and
going to put in whatever they want to feel into movies. It's very hard, and even for me, to kind of pull yourself back and really just try to listen to what the movie is
oh,
saying.
100%. Oh, you take in so much stuff. Um, like, I mean, just like, even as watching it this time, I'm like, oh, this movie could never be made today with a white Italian guy playing a Cuban. Like that would never happen.
No.
That would be this movie would not make it to the theaters. This would get canceled so fast.
You got to
And I'm
cancel.
not I'm not I'm not saying that in the Twitter sense. Like no, like the movie would once they said no, the main character is going to be an Italian playing a Cuban, like the movie would be like,
Yeah.
we're not giving y'all money. No.
Well, not to mention there's just so many. There's such a larger pool of actors to choose from as it is now.
There's pretty big. There's a pretty large pool back then. But
Never was.
I mean, like even with that, I think Al Pacino did a great job. I mean,
oh, he did. He did.
I mean, yeah.
He was perfect for the role, even if in hindsight, not the right race for the role.
Is Cuban's a nationality, not a race. It's okay.
That's fair. That's fair. You're right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
I was really sad this time when F. Murray Abraham got killed. He's the one that got pushed out of the helicopter.
Yeah.
And hung. I really like that actor. I just saw him on that Guillermo del Toro's. He's got a horror series on Netflix. It's really good.
Horror?
Yeah, it's like an anthology series. Like every episode is a different like horror story.
Oh, horror. Okay, so
I don't say that word right. I grew up in South Carolina. I can't say that word at all.
I thought it was like hoarders. I was like,
most people think I'm saying a different word, but okay.
Netflix is getting pretty racy. They're trying to bring in a whole new audience.
Trying to be the new Skinamax. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to go back and watch again because I didn't realize that the guy who pushed what was his name? The guy who got pushed out of the helicopter.
Is F. Murray Abraham?
Yeah, I didn't know if the guy who pushed him out was the same guy who ended up killing Tony in the end.
Oh, yeah.
I forget the name they give him. It's like something kind of cheesy, but he's like this
Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow. Like it's kind of cheesy.
Mark Margolis. He was the guy in Breaking Bad that had the bell on his cart. That remember the guy that killed Gus Fring?
Oh yes, not Don Eladio. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's the same actor.
Oh, I have no idea.
Gus. It's Gus Fring, right? The guy that owned the restaurant.
Gus Fring owns the restaurant, and then he kills him.
He gets blown up by the old man.
Like wires a bomb to his wheelchair or something somehow.
Yeah. So that's the guy that blows up Gus Fring. Yeah.
He's just killing everybody. Man. And the way he killed him too is so. I mean, I guess it's cheesy because I've just kind of gotten past the point where long before I saw the movie, like the idea of Scarface Tony Montana getting shot multiple times, and then just getting up and just picking off dudes from his staircase. I'm like, I couldn't pull myself from reality well enough to enjoy that. I guess.
That was. I think that's supposed to be the pounds and pounds of cocaine that he was supposed to be on.
That would make sense. Actually, I didn't even think about that. My mind just went straight medical. Like, sir, this is unsafe.
Well, with the cocaine, it should have made his heart pump faster. We should have seen little splurts, which probably would have ended up being comical.
But maybe it just went so fast that the blood just bypasses the holes and just keeps rolling.
Is that how it works? Is that your professional opinion?
It is called practice for a reason. All right.
Okay. You start giving cocaine out in the field whenever you get a fallen soldier.
I was told that we have to win the war. I was not told how to do it. I was given no guidelines. General.
Happy Veterans Day, by the way, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Speaking of Papa, actually, I have his uniform in my closet.
Oh, okay.
I can't talk today. Yeah, I've got that. I think mom's got a couple of his ribbons left. I think she said she'd probably give them to me when she passed away or whatever.
I got a Bronze Star. I don't know what the other one is. I think David has one of his Purple Hearts. I'm pretty sure because I think two. Yeah. I think Benjamin and David got his 2 Purple Hearts, or one got each.
Yeah, everyone got something from him because he got. I mean, he had so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like he seemed like even when I was just like 12 years old, I thought like, wow, he's got all that stuff. And then I actually got into the army and started like learning about it. And I was like, whoa, he had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just so weird because like I was like reading all the things he did, just how much of like a badass he was, and I was like, but that was Papa. Papa wouldn't hurt nobody.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, I never felt like I was old enough to really talk to him about his service, like in a lot of detail. I always got a lot of jokes and stuff like that. I wish. Yeah, I wish I was able to talk to him more about his actual service. But yeah, no, he's a badass.
I think one of the things I always wished was just that he was alive whenever I had actually gotten out of basic. That would have been great.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you know, that's what it is.
So I guess. So speaking of that, speaking back to Scarface, do you think Papa would have liked Scarface?
He wouldn't have told Mima if he did. He would not have told Nemo. I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have liked it. I think he would have just thought it was just too violent, like and just because I mean, if you take out the violence, I mean, the plot is pretty straightforward. Like, there's not much depth there as far as the plot goes, and I don't know. I don't think it would have been his kind of film.
Yeah, I don't. There's not a hero to root for. I don't think he would have liked it. He always wanted the hero to root for. So
yeah, I mean, who's the person to root for in that movie? Like, maybe his mom, I guess. Tony's mom. You just hope that somehow
you kind of wanted Manny and Gina.
Yeah,
to run away. I mean, that was like the only thing worth rooting for. You wanted them to escape.
Yeah, and you end up seeing. I mean, because I think his mom though is the most tragic character because I mean she'll never know. Thankfully, that they died while she was basically trying to shoot him / get him in bed at the same time.
She wasn't actually trying to do that. That was her. She was.
I know she wasn't trying to. But I mean, I don't think that context would help her sleep at night at all.
Oh no. The things, the last words out of her mouth would would not make that mother happy. No, whether they were meant or not. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. They're like Manny, and that's the only person to cheer for. And
Shadow.
Yeah, I'm cool with Shadow.
He was a really good killer. He was loyal. He's worth rooting for. Yeah.
Shadow is real. He is real capitalism. Thank you. He is real capitalism. He's just doing his job. He's doing what the boss tells him. He shows up on time. You know.
He is. Doesn't ask questions.
Boss, you need me to work overtime? You got it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Doesn't ask. Doesn't demand a union card. Yeah.
He doesn't speak. I don't think he spoke once, did he?
Well,
I don't think
he definitely whispered in his boss's ears, but yeah, I don't think we ever actually hear dialogue from him.
Anything that we would actually hear.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Which really is the guy like that. You want him to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the game, don't you have to kill him first? I think like the opening scene is from the end of Scarface.
Yeah, and you're trying to get out, trying to get to your limo so you can escape. I don't remember. Actually, I just watched the opening cutscene, and I don't remember him being in it. He might be like a future bad guy, like in a future mission. Maybe the entire thing is you're trying to get Sosa. You're trying to get back at Sosa. I don't know. I remember not really liking it. It got a lot of good scores, but I thought it was.
Well, didn't it come out around the time that Grand Theft Auto was getting like really big? So maybe just the idea of more games like that was what made it popular.
Oh no! I mean, there were a lot of games like that back in the day. I mean, this was after San Andreas.
Oh. So, okay.
I mean, it was. Around the time I want to say there was like a Godfather video game that came out.
I remember that. I had that. It was It wasn't good.
There was Mafia. Did that come out around this time, or was that later? That may have been 360 because I know this one came out on the original Xbox.
Yeah, I think I had Mafia on PlayStation 3.
Okay.
I think I did at least.
Well, there was a remastered version of it. You might have had the remaster
Maybe, yeah.
because they're up to like Mafia 3 now or something like that. So.
Well, they're doing Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out soon, but they've had like 12 of them.
Around 6? Was there ever a 5?
There was a 5. Well, remember, there was Grand Theft Auto 3, then there was Vice City, there was San Andreas, and then there were these two like spin-off games where it was like Liberty City stories and some other stories.
Yeah, those were the PSP ones because there was one for the Ballad of Gay Tony.
Yeah.
Right? Those were the two PSP. Liberty City, or maybe Liberty City stories included the Ballad of Gay Tony and something else.
They may have. I can't remember. Yeah, and then after all of that, then there was Grand Theft Auto 4. And then there may have been one more between 5.
I don't remember what Grand Theft Auto 4 was.
I don't think it got good reviews. I think it was based in New York. I mean, it was fairly typical. I want to say it was basically like...
Oh, that was the one where you were the Russian immigrant or something like that, right? Yeah. Okay, yes. Okay, I remember that one.
I played a little of it. It didn't really get me.
No, I was the same way. I couldn't get into that one as much.
And I never played 5.
5 is very... It's almost too big, but it was fun. Like there was some good stuff in it, but...
Well, I know they're like so obsessed with like multiplayer, so which I'm not really a diehard fan of that.
Yeah.
But then again, most of the games I play are just stories where you're like the one main character, so I guess that fits.
Well, I get my Grand Theft Auto fix now with Red Dead Redemptions. So.
Red Dead's very good. Red Dead's awesome.
Yeah, those are.
Red Dead is a better. Now. Do what?
Those are my games now. Or
those are awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was timed.
Yeah, so I'm using the free version of Zoom, so we only get 40 minutes. So.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, I can stitch all this together. That's not an issue.
If we like blow up, then we can pay for the premium.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
All we got to get is everyone, like David, Norman, all the cousins, just spread it out, and then we got it.
Sure. Yeah. None of them will like what we're talking about, but yeah. I don't even think, we didn't even do an intro at the beginning.
We did. Well, I mean, we can always go back and do like a...
I can
one remastered.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you? Oh, did you ever play Suikoden 1 or 2 growing up?
No, I saw that's on our schedule for later, but
it is. I was only asking because they just announced like 2 weeks ago that they're gonna do like full remasters of those, which is probably a good way for you to get on them. I mean, it'll probably be like early 2023. So I mean, whatever. But I'm probably saying that because I'm freaking excited because I love those games and I love missions on the PlayStation. I just love completing them. There's some like euphoria I get whenever I see that little thing pop up on the screen.
Oh, the trophy?
Yeah. The trophy's what I mean.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm bad. Ever since the 360, I've been bad about achievements.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm about at 100K in terms of my achievement score on
nice.
And I mean, like anymore, I don't even play that much, but yeah, I'm really bad about those.
Yeah. What was the game for today? Chrono Trigger?
No, actually, we didn't have one lined up, so I figured we would, even though it's technically not an RPG, we talk about the Scarface game. I was like, I don't know, whatever.
There you go. I mean, I'm down with that. I gotta pull it up then. That's the case. Hang on, I lost you. There you were.
Yeah, I figured. I figured whenever we're talking about games, like if one of us isn't too familiar with it, like kind of the other one can lead um, the conversation and kind of just talk about it, but kind of compare to what it's like, and the other person can say why they don't like that series of games that it's compared to, or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
We can always we can always change it up too, and just trash talk games that we both just don't care for, like Madden series or the Call of Duty. Well, I don't mind Call of Duty. I'm not like a, but I think what I don't like about Call of Duty is the fans. The fans are just obsessed with it.
Yeah. No, I felt that a little bit after Black Ops. I really liked the first Black Ops. That was a really good story. It was kind of a Manchurian Candidate story. It was really good.
I don't think anyone even talks about the stories though. It's all about like playing online.
They put a lot of effort into the stories too, like the cutscenes and everything.
I know they do. I think
good,
like
but
like all the people who are actually fans of the games just
yeah.
want it for the multiplayer.
Yeah, which I mean, like if that's what you're into, I mean,
Yeah, that's fine. That's nothing wrong.
well, what's that game? They just came out with #2 of it, Overwatch. Like I don't like play something like that. You know, if
Yeah.
you just want the multiplayer, because that's actually pretty strong multiplayer. I'm not even really a big fan of it, but I mean, it's built off the was it Team Fortress? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
I never played it, the first one, but I can see the appeal of games like that though, like the whole what you were saying, the team build thing.
Yeah, and I mean, like I used to, I had some guys at work, and we were a little squad on Call of Duty back in the day, back in the very first Black Ops, and that was a lot of fun. Like just getting together with the guys because we all worked third, so on our days off we would stay up and game all night, and that was kind of fun just to have that camaraderie with some guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
This is going to be our first sponsor, by the way. Hopefully.
Who was that?
Wicked Weed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was what they had at the gas station. So.
Yeah. They But yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there's these videos online of like semi-pro Madden players just losing their minds because someone didn't make the right catch or right tackle or whatever, and just it sounds like me when I was 12. Sometimes like they're just saying like the game's rigged, the game's crap, all this stuff.
There's a I think it was on Paramount Plus. There was an ad whenever I was watching like new Beavis and Butthead episodes. Mm-hmm. There was an ad for like before the episode would start for like I think it was Paramount Plus for a reality show around gamers. Mm-hmm. And this one guy, I can't remember what game he was playing, but he was like the top of his team or top of the league and whatever. And it felt like a parody. It felt like it was I was like, is this supposed to be like a Spinal Tap thing? Like, because they were doing that kind of thing where they were like throwing controllers and they were throwing hissy fits and stuff like that. And I'm like,
was it a real game?
It was a real game. I can't remember what it was. It was something.
It wasn't Fortnite, was it?
It could have been. I don't know.
That's like the big game right now. I mean, Well, I mean, it's the big game for.
Oh, like, isn't it MOBA? Is that what it's called? That's the really big
one. Not MOBA. That's like
Dota. Dota is the big one.
Or Dota. Yeah.
Yeah. Not MOBA.
That's like it's like League of Legends-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, though, I mean, they get into that, and if you make it to like the championships or whatever, you're looking at like a 7-figure check. We need to get on that.
I'm okay. I'm okay being poor. I don't want to do that. I just.
It becomes like you can be poor, or you can be famous for winning this one video game. Like,
yeah.
Give me my debt. I'll take my debt.
I get to have sex with a woman. It's all right.
No,
You
still.
know, like I'll take that.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I feel like if you get to that point, because I've seen it with a lot of other things where you get to a point, you get to such a high achievement level doing
Mm-hmm.
something that you like doing that it doesn't become something you like doing anymore. It just becomes a burden. And I couldn't
Well,
imagine like having to play video games for a living. Like you would probably end up getting kind of burnt out, I would think. I just can't imagine. I just
yeah,
can't imagine any game being that good. And
it's
being
not.
like,
It's
I don't care if it's Mass Effect 2 or Chrono Trigger, like, or
not
Super Metroid, like my favorite games. Like, no. If I
mm.
had to play them for a living, I would hate them.
Well, it's not. It's not. It's not just that they're playing for a living. Like it's one thing if you're like a game reviewer, and every couple of weeks you're playing a new game. You got to write about it. But
Right.
these guys keep playing the same game constantly and trying to find these little, like the most minute details that allow them to get the advantage. Um, it's like they don't have time to play any other game.
Right.
You know, they
Exactly.
can't. They can't like. I was watching like some kind of documentary on it, and they like none of these guys are great at like two games. They can play other games because there's similar mechanics, but they don't take like being the like it's like it's like if you're like the best QB in the NFL. You're probably a decent athlete all around, but if you go to like the NBA, you're going to get squashed.
Right. Like one thing I do have, I watched a documentary on it, and I do kind of understand a little bit is the um uh I can't think of the pinball.
Yeah,
Wow, it's late. I've been up all day. Um,
I love being old.
yeah. So I watched a documentary on pinball, and it was really focused on an autistic guy who was really into pinball and like just found a lot of comfort in it,
Mm.
and kind of fell zen in pinball, and he started doing pinball competitions, and it went into a little bit of that, and it's really kind of a sweet, endearing um, documentary. But one of the one of the cool things about it is when they showed the pinball competition is you're thrown into like a pinball museum or something like that, and it's like just 10 random pinball games, and you have to just figure those out. So I mean, if you like pinball, I mean, hey, you're not playing that one game over and over again, so that's kind of cool. Now I
Yeah,
kind of get that. I think that would be kind of fun if I was good. I'm not good at pinball at all. I suck. But yeah, if I was good.
I'm very good, but machines just cheat. So I mean, yeah,
I understand. Yeah.
they're just sucking my quarters. Greedy machines.
And another one similar to that is, did you ever watch? Was it The King of Kong?
I never saw that.
Okay, that was a really good documentary on the guy who's trying to get the highest score on King Kong, and then there's a
I saw the one
glitch.
about Pac-Man.
I don't know about the one about Pac-Man, but this one, there's a really greasy guy. There's like just this guy, and he's just like a normal Joe. He might be a little autistic. He's just on the spectrum, but he's not hardcore.
Right.
And but he's just really good at King Kong or at Donkey Kong, and
Right.
he's just trying to get the high score, get to the or I don't think it's the high score. I think you have to get, it's the fastest person to get to the kill screen, I think, in that game.
You're talking about the one where you're Mario climbing up the ladder?
Yes,
Like,
and so the fastest you can get to the kill screen, I think that's the competition.
okay.
And there's like certain systems you can, or certain cabinets you can play it on, because some of them have been modded, so they don't actually count towards the world record. But there was just this like really greasy guy who who was like trying to get in. I think he turned out he was like cheating. He was like the Peter Dinklage guy in that really crappy Pixels movie. So
I thankfully have not seen that.
don't. Somehow that movie says that you can cheat at Pac-Man. I don't know.
I mean, you could hack it, I guess.
Yeah, but you can't. There's
That's,
no. Yeah, was it left, right, up, down, A, B? Was it? I can't remember the Konami code, but yeah,
I know.
whatever that was.
Was that for Contra?
Yeah, Contra. Yeah,
Yeah.
unlimited lives in Contra, or 99 lives in Contra. I don't think
I
there's
think I
any.
downloaded that on like my 3DS or whatever. But I don't. I haven't tried the code to see if it works. I need to try that later.
I remember we were talking Super. I think it was Super Contra that David tried it on, and it worked out. So yeah.
I'll try that. Did you ever see the what was that movie? The one where the entire movie was like a giant ad for Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, the Wizard.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
with the Power Glove.
The
Yeah,
power.
yeah.
Now you're playing with power.
I
Oh yeah. I
remember.
remember watching the movie. I was like 4, and it just got. I was so excited. That was the coolest thing to me was a
Yeah,
movie having a video game in it.
that's about the right time. We probably watched it together one time when I was babysitting you.
Probably did. It probably did.
I probably convinced your mom to rent that for me.
I
Uh,
believe it.
yeah.
Around that time, she did not care.
No, she did not.
She was like, "Hey," because I mean, it wasn't like you were coming home or she came home and I was watching like Pulp Fiction or something.
Nope, but I was.
I believe you were. Well, no, I remember she had that, and I would like pull it out one time, and I just looked at the back of the bot, and to me being like a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, I was like, oh, that's not fun. Let me grab like Lion King or whatever I got in here.
Yeah, you love Lion King. I remember.
I did. I still
I
do.
remember. I remember taking you to the theater with your dad, and your dad had a thing where he had to watch trailers before the beginning of movies,
Mm-hmm.
and grade them and grade the audience reaction or something like that. And
It was crazy like that.
he took me to babysit you, and it was when Lion King was still in the theater. And so I sat you down, and I mean, you watched Lion King 4 times in a row, and I would skip out and jump into other theaters and watch another movie, and I'd come back in and check on you, and you'd still be just sitting there watching Lion King, just happy.
Yeah. It did not take much to keep me happy. But that was a time when I didn't have a cell phone. Like you put me in front of TV, I was good.
Nobody did.
Yeah.
No, I remember one of my favorite movies that your mom did have, and it became one of my favorites because I was 11 or 12, and I watched Out for Justice, the Steven Seagal film.
I haven't seen that.
It's brutal. It is not something an 11 or 12-year-old should ever watch, but I loved it. And
Out for Justice?
Out for Justice. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I heard of that one, but that one sounds. I'll have to watch that one.
Got like a Beastie Boys soundtrack, and yeah, it's like the bad guys doing meth the entire time and just killing random people on the street. It's violent. It's vulgar.
The most terrifying movie I've watched like during that time when we were living in the woods was actually with her. We were in the living room, like she was on the couch, I was in the chair, and she fell asleep, and whatever channel was on, all of a sudden the screen's just black and white. There's this woman walking into the shower, and there's this little creep looking through the little people, and then the woman starts taking the shower, and all of a sudden pulls the curtain open. She just does like the most unconvincing scream with her hands in the air, and then the freaking psycho guy just starts stabbing her to death. I watched probably half of Psycho. Like I know I got past the point to where the guy, whoever was the tenant, he knew that Norman Bates was there, and that in his mind Norman's mother was also there. But
Right. Well, I mean, if you got to the shower scene, that's almost halfway through the movie.
the shower is the very beginning.
Watch it again. That's about 45 minutes into it. Yeah, there's a whole
And Psycho.
Janet Leigh getting to the hotel is its whole own story, and then she gets murdered, and then people look for Janet Leigh, and that's what kind of launches the whole thing.
Well, then maybe I saw it then maybe I had changed the channel, but I don't know what happened. But all I know is the first thing I saw was the shower scene, and Mom woke up about halfway through, and she was like upset, but also embarrassed because she knew it was her fault. So she's like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't know what this is." But no, for years, literally for years, I could not take a shower. I was terrified. I was taking baths until I was
I remember. Yeah, no, yeah, you smelled bad.
There was no shower, like because I was terrified that there'd be some black man, not like a black man, but like a man in shadows. They started me early. They started me early with that crap. I had to unlearn it all.
Somebody should have explained the plot to you because it was the women that the son was interested in. That was who got murdered.
Well, Mom was not about to explain to me what was what the plot of Psycho was. All she really told me was like, "You don't need to watch that. Go to bed." It's like, okay, as if I was going to get any sleep that night.
That's a good. I actually watched that one in October. Yeah, that was part of my list of. I was trying to get through 31 horror movies. That jumped on the list there.
I want to watch it again. I don't think I've ever actually sat down and watched it, which is sad because I know exactly what happens. Like I know how it ends and all that. I know like the whole plot and like the twist and everything. Just because at this point you can't really avoid it.
Right. I mean, it's all like the ending of Scarface. Even if you've never seen it, you know exactly what happens. You know,
right.
Say hello to my little friend. You know everything that's going on.
Everyone knows that line. Although I did recently show Megan. We watched A Few Good Men, and she knew Jack's line in the end. Like she knew of that line, but she had no idea that that's where it was from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she never saw it, so it was actually really cool seeing her reaction to that.
Oh, okay.
That's what that's from. I was like, yes.
I should have realized it was from a movie on like. Who would have known that? What base is that in Cuba?
Guantanamo Bay, yeah.
Yeah, nobody would. Nobody knew how infamous that base was going to become after that film was made. But.
It's like Guantanamo, what? But I mean, I was just happy because that's that's probably one of my favorite movies, and
really,
yeah, I love it. Like I don't even know quite what it is about it. I just love every bit of it. It's like. It's not quite peak Tom Cruise, but it gets there. He's getting there. It's definitely well before he just went down the side.
Add that to the list somewhere, because I don't remember.
Definitely.
I don't remember the last time I actually watched that one. So
it's like I think it's one of the better court dramas. Like it does it well because I know that most of those court dramas are just very dramatized, but I think they do it really well. And plus, I also love like I love any kind of military aspect in movies like that. It's a very good film.
Going to watch An Officer and a Gentleman too.
Do what?
Going to watch An Officer and a Gentleman too.
I know I saw that.
So that's one you need to watch with your wife. There you go.
Officers. I know I've seen it, but I have no. Actually, maybe I haven't because now I'm thinking that was Master and Commander. Okay, yeah.
Watch that one with your wife. Yeah, that's good. If you like military dramas, because it's got a romance edge to it. I think it's Richard Gere. So.
Well, what's funny is Megan and I both have these lists of movies that like each other needs to watch, and her list for me is embarrassingly long. Like, she's got there's a lot of movies on our list that like you would probably never speak to me again if you saw that list. There's
like what?
She's got it. I don't remember anything. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up.
I watched The Birth of a Nation this year, so nobody can talk about an embarrassing list of movies that I watched. Because that it's the most embarrassing movie that an American white man in 2022 can watch.
Yeah, I put that on mine because I was like, man, this is straight up real. I was like, holy, this is just.
It's a bonkers, man. That is a bonkers film. And when you realize like it created so much cinema language that
I
we
don't know.
started using, like it's like
I
this
think
is
that
like
that's like the
this
most
is like an
important.
important movie, and it's like bonkers, racist, crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, which I guess you need to. I guess you need to respect it. Well, no, respect isn't the right word. That's the wrong word. I shouldn't use that word.
Yeah,
But here,
well, there's aspects of it to respect, but I think it's like I think it's dangerous to say, oh, it's a product of its time, because when you actually read up on it, people are like, people didn't even like it. People knew how racist it was when it came out, apparently. Um, so it's
well, they
a
didn't.
no, actually a lot of people did. There was a lot of
Was it really?
yeah, there was apparently a lot of places that wouldn't show it. Like they knew how. They
Well,
knew
good
what it
for
was
them.
talking about. It was glorifying the Ku Klux Klan. Like they knew that. So yeah, they
I
didn't.
guess I have less faith in them than I should. Good for them.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people that loved it.
But yeah, I
That-
mean, it was made that way for a reason. Well,
yeah,
actually, then again, that was in what the 20s,
yeah. No,
maybe.
that was in the teens.
Okay.
That was like 1914. I want to say.
That was post like the peak of the Ku Klux Klan, right? Like they were still a factor, but
I mean,
there,
luckily, my
there
history and my
was,
knowledge on the trajectory of the Klan is not really super solid. So I'm not going to speak to. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I mean their growth was in the late 1800s, which is when this movie is based.
right.
It's based on a book called The Klansman. But
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. Oh, and the director was apparently mad that they changed the name too. So
What was the? From
from The Klansman, yeah, that's what he wanted it called.
He's trying to help you. He's trying to help you get into theaters, man. All right, here's a list of some of the movies that I need to. Well, these are from a list that we found, and she just told me to go through it and tell her what movies I hadn't seen. So we got City of God, Amelie, or I think it's Amelie. 12 Angry Men. Oh, yeah, okay. 12 Angry Men, Deer Hunter, Casablanca, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I honestly have no desire to see that.
That is a fun movie, man. I'm gonna say that's a.
I heard it is.
I really like that movie, man. That's a fun one.
I don't know if it'll appeal to me. Maybe it will. I don't know. Snatch, Old Boy, not the one that was made in America.
The good one, the real one,
Yeah.
the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen the one made in America, and it oh my god, yeah, that was trash.
It's kind of like Oliver Stone. Like I think Spike Lee is a very overrated director, writer. Like I don't get a lot of his stuff, but
No, yeah, he's got a couple good films, but
yeah,
he's made a lot of trash.
yes, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like he's made some amazing. Like what was the one I watched earlier this year? That he did. It was his first big one.
Spike Lee?
Yeah, it was like set in like in the Bronx, and it was in a black neighborhood. And
Yes, yeah,
I
that was
think of the name of it because my old men were late and I've been drinking.
That was what I know. I know exactly what you're talking about. That was wonderful though.
Bringing everything around, I was really shocked that there's one guy in that movie who I didn't realize was Gus Fring. The actor that played Gus Fring was in that movie. I never would have recognized it if I didn't look it up afterwards.
He was in which movie?
That Spike Lee movie we're talking about. That was Do the Right Thing. That's it.
Oh,
He's a character that
Oh yeah.
He's the really political character. He's one of the
Mhm.
ones that goes into the pizzeria at the end. It's the
Yeah.
three guys: the mentally retarded guy, the guy with the boombox, and the other guy. And he's the other guy. I think I have that right.
I
But
know. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, now he keeps getting casted to play characters like that. They was it? I think it was Far Cry. They basically just made him Gus Fring in Far Cry, like Far Cry
that was a
6.
good one. I like that one. Yeah, I like a good Far Cry game. Yeah.
It is good. But yeah. So Old Boy, Leon the Pro. We had Raiders of the Lost Ark. She and I finally watched that one. I
I've
hadn't
never seen that.
I haven't seen any of the Indiana Jones besides the Crystal Skull, which I know
Oh,
was
that is a crime against humanity.
well.
Oh
As
my
soon as
gosh,
I
that
already
is.
knew that like Crystal Skull was crap, but I just knew it was crap by itself. I then watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I was like, oh, that movie is sin. Like that movie shouldn't be. I was
Raiders.
I was and
I'll admit that Raiders is a better movie, but I love Last Crusade. I have a really really huge soft spot for Last Crusade. That's
watching
one of
that
my
one.
favorite.
That one's next, and then what's the other one?
Temple of Doom, which is
Yeah,
fun. It's a good movie, and a lot of people like that one.
we're watching all three of them. But we were watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, and she asked me how I felt at the end. I told her I was like, wow, they made so many Family Guy jokes in that movie. But I really don't know how many times because I had watched probably like the first eight or nine seasons of Family Guy, and the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like loving the film. Like I loved it so much, but I'm like, oh yeah, that was a Family Guy. That was a Family Guy. That was a Family Guy. It was great though. I liked it, but yeah, no, I just never saw him growing up. Uh,
Wow,
Grand Budapest Hotel,
great
In
movie.
Judges, Three Idiots, Stand by Me. 2001, we watched that a few months ago.
That's a great movie.
I felt high about the second third of that movie, or no, it was near
The
the
last third.
the last third. I felt stoned out of my mind. It was great though. Goonies, Schindler's List, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Shaun of the Dead, Alien, Evil Dead, Lawrence of Arabia, Rosemary Baby, which if I remember that one, if I remember hearing about that one correctly, I'm going to be watching that one alone. She does not like horror. She
Okay.
can she cannot handle scary.
Well, I will say this too. Going back, after you watch Evil Dead, you have to watch Evil Dead 2
Okay,
because I find that a far far superior film.
you do that too.
Evil Dead 2.
Okay,
Yes, it's where everybody's love and infatuation with Bruce Campbell, I think, comes from Evil Dead 2. Like
yeah.
he's fantastic. Sam Raimi really comes into his own as a director in that film. Like
Right.
you see what they're capable of in Evil Dead, but it like comes to fruition. Like it's really solidified in Evil Dead 2. I love that film.
Aren't they making a new one?
Yes.
I heard. I don't know.
Yes.
How do you feel about it? Because I don't know what to think about that.
Look, I like the remake that they made. That was almost 10 years ago now. I didn't mind it. I thought it was good. It was its own thing. Um, it was gory and violent. It was what I wanted. I mean, they were trying to remake the original Evil Dead film. Make a scary possession, gory horror flick. I think they accomplished it. I think they did a good job. Yeah, I have no problems with it. I like the Ash versus the Evil Dead series.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they do it right, and sometimes they don't.
It's true.
Citizen Kane, Seven Samurai, Gladiator.
You didn't watch Seven Samurai? You were supposed to watch that. You're supposed to watch that when you stayed at my house.
I don't think I ever
I didn't watch my cats. I'm disappointed.
I watched the cats. The cats lived. I don't think I got around to it. I think I got Seven Samurai. I think I guess I was playing video games or something too much. I don't know what I was doing. Um,
That's number two. Old Boys number one. Seven Samurais number two.
I'll look
But
at now.
you can really watch almost any Akira Kurosawa film. Like he's
Yeah,
an amazing filmmaker. I love his stuff.
gotcha. I have to.
And I'm not alone on that. It's not like I have an original thought. Like everybody that into cinema knows that he's amazing. So
Right. Yeah. How are the cats, by the way? How many are y'all at currently? Inside, not outside.
inside of the ones that you watched, we have three left. The other ones passed away. We had two pass away this year.
The one that I had to give medicine to, I'm assuming, passed away.
Which one was that one?
I don't remember the color. She was always in y'all's room or in the closet, and I basically had to corner her and like syringe the medicine in.
That was probably Leia. Or no, that could have been Tara.
I
can't remember when Tara died. I think Tara was already dead when you did that. That was Leia. Leia was our oldest one. We got her when we got back from our honeymoon, and that was this past summer. We put her down. She was 17 years old. Yeah.
Gotcha. Still three bunnies.
Nope, two.
Nah.
Yeah, Samson died. He had a stomach rupture. Genetic. Nothing we could really do. We just came home one day and found him dead. Sucked.
Nah, I'm sorry. I hate that. Let's see. Her, Full Wedding and a Funeral, Little Miss Sunshine, Saving Private Ryan was on there. I watched that a few months ago. It was weird for me because like there's you know how there's just certain characters where you see them and your mind is like they can only be this one person. One of the soldiers in Saving Private Ryan had like 3 episodes on Friends. He was Chandler's roommate. He was like this really just quirky, weird guy who would lose his temper over the most meaningless crap.
Okay.
And I forget. Let me see if I can find the guy's name. He was he like accused Chandler of killing his goldfish. Chandler like shook his girlfriend's hand, and he's like, are you trying to get with my girl? What are you doing? Like he's just like the most. I think that's who I'm thinking of at least. Now I feel like I'm going crazy. But you know what I mean, though, right? Like you see an actor in one thing, and then from now on, you can only see them as that character.
Right.
And of course, Vin Diesel was weird.
Are you thinking of Adam Goldberg?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. Adam Goldberg. Go watch him sometime. His time, like it was like 3 episodes in Friends. He was wonderful in that. He was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember watching it back in the day, and then later on going back and rewatching it, and not realizing it all. I mean, this is after Pitch Black, or was it Pitch Black, and then the Fast and Furious movies, and not realizing that Vin Diesel was in that movie at all. I mean, like, wow, what's going on?
Yeah, Vin Diesel. He makes anything look tough, even when he was that movie where he was like a commando babysitter. I forget what it was called.
Yeah, it was just a ripoff of Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan. But, all right.
Fair enough. We got Doctor Strangelove, Truman Show, Reservoir Dogs, Amadeus, and Gangs of New York.
You know, I've never actually seen Amadeus. I actually bought that one earlier this year, but I still haven't watched it yet. That's one on my list.
That's one of the ones I'm like really excited about because I've heard wonderful things about it.
Yeah. But no, most of that list is. I mean, you know, a lot of people try to shame people into saying, you know, oh, you haven't seen this movie or haven't seen that movie, but I mean, we all have our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, like I used to
every year.
I used to write reviews all the time, and most of my reviews were I still haven't watched Citizen Kane, and it was whenever I'd watch some like trashy '70s slasher gore flick or something like that, because well, that's what I enjoy. That's what I'm going to watch. That's what I'm going to watch to relax after a long day. Um, some cheesy horror flick. But yeah, I actually ended up getting around to watching Citizen Kane, and um, it's a little boring. It's a little hard to watch from modern times. But when you look back at like when you really think about it in its cinematic position in history, you're like, oh, that's okay, that's an important one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, it's a lot of context. I mean, because like I just like for example, I just hate the Beatles. I don't know why, but I just do not like them at all. But I
Not a,
totally
not a big
respect.
fan either. It's okay.
Yeah, but I completely respect the massive influence they had on music.
Yeah, no, if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have Radiohead. Yeah, no, I get that.
There'd be nothing, but I'm never gonna listen to the Beatles and just enjoy it. I can't. And I have tried before. I have tried to enjoy the Beatles. I can't enjoy them.
I like Revolver. I think that's a good album. I do actually enjoy that one. But yeah, no, I get. Yeah, even growing up as a teenager, I was like, Led Zeppelin is so much more important and
Oh,
better
yeah,
and great than the
Led
Beatles.
Zeppelin is awesome. I think
Yeah,
we have, I forget which album we had, but we got a, we got a record player a few months ago, and we got one of their albums. I want to say it's whichever one has the blimp. Yeah, I see it.
so
it's
it could be one, could be two,
it's one. I
or
know
three.
it's one. I remember it's one. I remember it's one because we were deciding which one to get, and I was like, let's just go with one. Let's start with one, and we'll go from there.
That is that first. What's the first song on there? It's such a great kick.
I can't
The
remember.
first song of the very first album. I can't remember what the name of that song is, but it starts off so strong.
It's a strong album.
Yeah.
We got about 30 seconds. Do you want to do another round, or you want to call it?
I think we can. I'm going to need to call it. It's getting a little
No,
late for me.
that's cool, man. Let's text soon, and we'll figure out what the next time's going to be.
All right, and we'll figure out how to do an intro and an outro.
There you go.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. You understand?